yeah, 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 look, ball player, no watching from the side. Said that you got him next, well go ahead and show him why. No limits in the sky, go ahead and take your shot. This one is for the city, let's show him how we rock. Coaches used to call my phone, what you doing? Just got home.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Up Next, the podcast where we tell you who's up next in youth sports. As you know, we're always pretty heavy in basketball because that's our expertise, and we're bringing you another basketball episode today. We're going to talk New York City high school hoops, or really just national high school hoops when you look at the program that we have on today. But first, of course, I'm Jamal Murphy, and I got my guy, co-host extraordinaire, Khalid Green in the house. What's up, man?
Peace, man. I'm happy to have the Stepinac crew. For a lot of people in New York, they are the standard right now for New York City basketball as far as high school is concerned. And for some people, they're the pick. I don't want to put any pressure on Coach, man, but they the pick for some people to win the city this year, man, the Catholic League. So happy to have them on.
Yes. So like you said, our guests today are head coach Patrick Massaroni at Archbishop Stepinac. He's in his 7th year, and he has with him senior Sam Gibbs, class of 2022, and he has Boogie Fland, class of 2024, sophomore, highly rated kid. So thanks to all of you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us on here today. We appreciate it as well.
All right. So, Coach, we'll start off with you, just so people know your background. Tell us, how your basketball career got started, and then I guess bring it full circle to how you got to where you are now with this program.
I was just telling these two young guys a little bit of my background. I thought maybe this question would come up, so I was looping them in. But from White Plains, New York. Ended up going to Stepinac here. After here, I went on to be a team manager up at Marist College back when we were pretty good. And I always said back when being a manager wasn't as cool as it is now. There's manager games, Twitter accounts, kids on scholarship, So it was like 2 of us now. Now there's 10 a team, So you got the travel team, you got the home team. But went to Marist from there. Got a job as a graduate assistant down at James Madison University in the Colonial League. So took a New Yorker, went down to Virginia for 2 years, and then came back. And Khalid and I were talking a little bit. I ended up getting a job part-time with the Brooklyn Nets. So they had just moved from Jersey, the Izod Center over there to Brooklyn. So I was working in PR for them. And also Stepinac at the time in 2012 started a varsity B team. So in the Catholic League, that's been a known thing for the more elite programs, right? It started really with Rice, and these B programs give juniors and seniors a chance to practice and play 20 games. And there's kids that go on, play college basketball, Division III usually. So I did that as the head coach for 3 years. So I was double dipping to the Nets, teaching at Stepinac and got to 2015. Fortunate enough to get the job in 2015, and surrounded myself with a couple guys that have been with me since day one on my staff that have been vital to our success. And, 7 years later, now we're, 34th in the country. We've had top 25, top 15 finishes. Guys go on to the highest level, and even got one guy in the G League right now. So, and now our future sitting here, 2 of our guys that'll help us hopefully be successful both here in New York and on the national scene, and that's what we're about here.
Yeah, talk about that progression, Coach. Because when I was coaching at Bishop Loughlin, the pretty much Rice was the standard. They were the ones that really were making the headways in New York City. And then, when I stepped away from and I started becoming a scout for the Nets, I just started hearing Stepinac's name, man, and other schools that weren't even in the league when I was in the league. Cardinal Hayes, I don't think they were in the Double A when I was in the league.
Nope.
So these are there's there's been a big transition in the Catholic League. Talk about that and what you.
I would say, I mean, the AA was basically like Rice, St. Ray's, Logland, Christ the King, right, and Malloy. That really was it. And then there was a shift, I would say, in the late 2000s that the whole restructure of the league. And then now the assistant at Hayes, Tim Philp, was the coach here. And Stepinac made a decision to fight to get into the AA. And his last year here, they went to the AA semis. They actually got blown out by Logland. They had the guy that went, one went to Seton Hall, one went to Rutgers, the backcourt. I remember being there. And then Tim ended up stepping down, and there was a period in between from 2010 to 2015 where we struggled in the AA, and the gentleman before me, they didn't have as much success. But I would say in 2015, when I got the job and I ended up, hiring my associate head coach now, Rodney Swain. So we've been together since day one. We said, hey, we're going to be here in the AA. We're going to try to become the best or mimic what the best was, right? So mimic what Rice did. Truthfully, now the standard bearer is Christ the King. They won 6 of the last 10 championships. So how do we take them down? And then, like you mentioned, there's been guys that have had success. Cardinal Hayes has won a ton of games. Logland, Eddie, and them have won games out there. So how do you try to mimic what these elite programs are doing and differentiate it to be ourselves? So, but a little history. I mean, in 2015, we thought we were pretty good, and we went 10-18. It was bad, but we had to change the culture. We had to change the mindset. We had to change everything about here back to what Stepinac was about when I was growing up. And you come in our gym and all these guys that went on to play high-level Division I basketball. That was our first goal in 2015.
So let's talk to the kids a little bit. Kind of the same question. Sam and Boogie. I guess we'll start with Sam. When did you first start, playing the game, getting a love for the game, and what did it take for you to get to the level you are at now?
Yeah, so I would say I probably started later, not too late, around like middle school, where I really started taking it seriously. I was fortunate enough to get in touch with Coach Pat and was lucky enough to be surrounded by, I got in the gym with the Stepinac guys going into 8th grade. So I was around the state championship team. So I sort of saw what the blueprint was, and in that, just now trying to recreate it, trying to get better on the daily to ultimately, like you guys said, try to win city championship. And I think that's the ultimate goal here now.
And how about you, Boogie?
I started playing basketball when I was like 5 years old or so. And then I just kept going through the years. And I was recommended to go here by a coach from AAU when I played at Gauchos. And I just followed them through the whole thing and saw them win the state championship and just wanted to come here.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to talk to Boogie. So I've seen Boogie, and I think I coached against some of, with Brooklyn Bridge, with my Brooklyn Bridge program. And I just want to say, like, he's always been known as like a sniper, like, knockdown shooter, somebody that can, shoot from deep. I've seen him. Boogie, I saw you I think it was the Nationals, and I think we were in Virginia, and you hit and you missed a game winner that, do you remember it went in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the reputation that you came up through, like you said, the Gauchos as a great shooter and probably one of the best in the city. And now you've transitioned to being known as a great point guard. Like how has that transition been for you?
I mean, after I shot, it like impacted me a lot. Like it just made me want to just get better and stuff like that. So I just like kept working hard, stayed in the gym, and just watched everything grow. Yeah.
To both players again, could you describe your games for the listeners and tell us, what you think your strengths and weaknesses are? Sam,
I'll go first. I would say I like to consider myself pass first point guard. Like to always try to play the right way. And now being surrounded by high level kids like Boogie and my teammates, just always trying to make the right play, and now developing into like being more aggressive, being more assertive, and using like a leadership role. In terms of weaknesses, I think I can get better defensively, and just try to improve my talking throughout the game, communication with my teammates, and just things like that, little things.
To add to Sam, everything you said is basically the same. Unselfish player, basically just to like get everybody involved, be that leader that the team needs me to be. We're surrounded by good players, so everybody just has to do their role.
And coach, when you look at the two players you have next to you now, how would you gauge their development in the past couple years, year or so, and what do you see them being for your team this year?
Yeah, so I would say a couple things, like, a little background in the 7 years here, for Rod and I, and now Al and Alexis and these other guys that have joined our staff. We got spoiled, and as the head coach, I got spoiled having RJ for 4 years as our main point guard, right? And you look, Sam was with them 3 years, 2 years. And so I would say, you talk about the guys here on this call, like Sam's development, we threw him in the fire as a freshman, probably 20 pounds lighter, a little shorter, but we felt his development and his work ethic could, overcome those deficiencies at the time. And now, our senior leader, 4.0 in the classroom, getting recruited by, these Ivy League schools, high academic schools, played on the EYBL, and representing us the right way. I would say the biggest growth has been that. And when you play with a guy who goes to Carolina, it's, if you can't touch the ball as much, how do you impact the game in other ways? And I think Sam did that. And then times RJ was out, he stepped up and could, get you 17 or 20 at Hayes, all that stuff. And like he said, the biggest jump has been his leadership, both showing it and doing it, whether it's 5 a.m, eating right, being a leader, making sure if myself or Swain aren't there, that there's no issues, or, running, lifting, or whatever it might be, with another coach that he's in charge. Boogie, I've known him for a couple of years now, being able to coach him for the last kind of 18 or 19. Obviously he has a skill set that's unique and special, as you said, and where his growth has gone and gone from a shooter to be able to, he can get you 31 night, but also get you 15 assists and 5 the other night, and I think that's what's unique about these two guys. But the biggest thing I've been on Boogie on, being ranked and all this stuff and these offers is how do you maintain and obtain all that and still work and still be successful and then also be a leader. We've never played 2 and we got another guard with us, 3 point guards at a time, but watching it so far this preseason, we're trying to figure out how to do it because the combo of them shouldn't turn the ball over more than 5 or 6 times as a team, so but I would say that, and to be a point guard here, you got to be an extension of the staff on the court. So you got to think like myself and Rod and Al and Alexis and be able to dictate that to what is the 1 supposed to do through the 5. And we kind of play a little bit of positionless basketball. We don't number guys, more, try to use our strengths and try to send these guys clips of what guys do at the next level and pick and roll stuff and transition stuff and how to get in the lane. And we always talk about knowing your personnel, and that's the biggest thing with these guys, knowing who's with them and who's around them in certain situations.
KYP, right?
That's it. We say it all the time. So don't blame somebody if they can't catch and finish. Don't throw on the ball. Take that shot or floater. So
that's right. That's right.
They're smiling. So,
Coach, what's your? I mean, talk about having a national program. Like, what is your schedule? Where you going this year? Where you touching down?
Yeah. So to give all the listeners a little background on that and where we're at. Year 1, right? We didn't do well, but we had got invited to a tournament in Florida. And we said yes right away, right? We wanted to elevate this program to where kids, truthfully, in the New York area, don't have to go to prep schools, right? You could stay at home with mom, dad, your families, wherever you are. We got kids from that live in Brooklyn up to Middletown, New York, and anywhere in between, Northern Jersey. But how do we get kids to not leave, right? That was always my thing. So what do kids want? You could ask these guys, right? They want to be taught. They want to be developed. They want exposure, right? And they want a chance to be successful at the next level, so that's what I think they want. So with that, first thing is you got to be able to play outside of the city. And I think our league is top 5 in the country, whether it's up or down. We're the best in the state. There's no doubt about it. Clid, that coaching in it. So we said year 2, we got invited to this tournament in Florida, went down, not so much national known, but we did okay. From that, we got invited to a tournament in California. And when you get to the national level, most time your expenses are covered for. But somebody said, hey, we get you a slot in this tournament in California, but you kind of have to pay your way. So, did some fundraising, kids did some efforts, and we went out to California, went 4-0. We're the first team to win this Torrey Pines national tournament from New York since St. Ray's in the 90s. And since then, it's been our phone rings off the hook on events. So we've been in South Carolina, we've been in Massachusetts, we've been, like I said, Florida, we've been in Delaware. So our thing as a staff is how do we take those 7 non-league games and challenge these guys to, be ready for March, be ready for March. Somebody's going to beat us throughout the year. I know these guys don't want to hear it, on a Tuesday, at 4:00 on the road, we don't make shots, kids are kids. We don't mentally focus. We're going to lose games in the league. We get everybody's best shot, and that's fine. But the national schedule wise, we opened the season at down at DeMatha at the National High School Hoops Festival versus a team called St. John's Prep. Their wing is going to Miami. They got a 6'10" sophomore in Boogie's class. They got a guard similar to Sam that's going to Niagara. So, national ranked team, probably top 3 behind DeMatha and Gonzaga down in that area. We'll come back. We'll play some big league games early on in December. Hayes on the road, Christ the King. And then we have West Catholic out of Philly. They're the number 2 ranked team out of Philly behind Newman Goretti and, kind of Imhotep down there. So they have 2 6'7" twins who are wing. From that, we'll head down to Columbia, South Carolina for the National Chick-fil-A Classic, which is a big one down there. 3-game event. You finish first or you finish 8th or anywhere in between. So there's no participation trophies in that one. You've got to be ready to go. Right. And then we come back and, we always try to get into the Hoop Hall Classic. It's probably the most marquee one in regards to coverage, history. So we always say yes to that. And then the final one is we talk about New York basketball was able to put an event together with the help of the Iona College men's basketball staff and athletic director, a big New York, New Jersey showcase at Iona College in January. Tried to find 5 teams in New York to challenge on the 5 and basically, bragging rights, who's going to win 3, who's going to win 2 or 4-1 or 5-0. And so those 7 non-league games give these guys a chance to play in front of, ESPN rivals, the guys who do the rankings in front of Slam and Overtime and all these big outlets, Bleacher Report. And then I think the biggest thing is to come together, something different being on the road, being on a bus, being on a plane, being in vans, the background of that and the cohesiveness, on that. And that's one thing. It's a pet peeve of mine. I would say there's a handful of teams that do that for their kids, but we keep complaining why kids leave. Like why does Sam not go to prep school? Why does Boogie not go to prep school? Well, these guys all keep complaining. They keep losing guys, junior or senior year. Let's do that for the kids. Stop with the personal egos worrying about wins and losses. And let's get this for the kids and get them the exposure they need and get them better. So figure it out some way, whether you got to fundraise, get invited. I'm always trying to help our league, guys middle of the pack get invited to these events because it's only good for the kids in our league. So that's kind of how we got into the national level. And then I tell these guys, for Sam, we got to perform at City of Palm so that Boogie gets a chance in a year or 2. And that was the same with, you got to go out and perform at these, not so much win, but can't be down 30 at halftime. It's not how it works.
Right. That's interesting. So you think that's the biggest issue in terms of why a lot of kids are leaving the city is the exposure? Because we talk about it all the time. We try to figure out why, New York City doesn't have the same level that they were in the 90s, as you mentioned, St. Ray's. Is that to you is the exposure that schools can provide?
I'll say my thoughts, and I always let these guys chime in on why. Not so much just about us. They got friends that play at other schools. We were just talking about it before we hopped on this. But I would say exposure is a big thing. I do. I think guys are afraid to go play people because they care about that W and they care about that L. They do. And then I think the other thing is development. In today's world, everybody seems to be a skill development coach. You work out one guy, you worked out a pro, you know, and that's what it's come to. But I think those are the two biggest things. You can't stop in March. You need to be able to work with the New York AAU programs. This isn't about us here. This isn't about control. You know, they both have parents that they control their kids. You know, the big thing Rod and I have always been about, you know, giving them, as Sam mentioned, a blueprint and guidance, both academically, athletically. So why are kids leaving the city? Some want to go, and that's fine. You know, if, hey, I want to get away from, you know, the city life and whatever it is, I got to go. But some are purely leaving because schools aren't playing people and schools aren't, you know, opening the gym for kids. You know, we have a shooting machine here. We have a strength coach. We have a Vertimax. We have a yoga instructor that's coming in. We have an athletic trainer. We partner with a physical therapy place down the street. I mean, these guys could tell you like that's what prep schools offer. And for Sam and Boogie, come 25 minutes from their homes or 30 minutes, and other guys, it's right here. You know, so I don't know. Why don't you chime in? Why are kids staying home here in certain places and why are they not? You know, I'll let Sam go first.
Yeah. I think there's something special that Stepinac offers, the ability to me be at my home, be surrounded by my sisters, to like not jump the gun and leaving home early. I'll also, like Coach Pat said, be surrounded by a bunch of like-minded athletes who want to get better and develop, and to have everything here, like you said, is we're super fortunate for it, and to just ultimately try to get better each day while still being home and have a sense of family is super important to me.
I feel the school gives like a big opportunity just to stay home. Like some kids like to leave because of like the name brand of the other schools and stuff like that, and because of the competition. But this school offers the same thing as those other name brand schools offer. And I feel it's just a good thing just to stay home, and the school offers that.
And just before we jump to the next thing, I would say the other thing about these guys here, and they can chime in, basketball gets the national name, but football's got 3 guys in the NFL since 2014 graduating class. You know, baseball's got guys playing. Lacrosse just got 2 Division I commits. Our tennis team won it a couple of years ago. Our bowling's undefeated right now. So they're surrounded by high-level athletes every day. So it's not like the basketball guys, like I go down and see them at lunch. They're not sitting just the basketball guys. They're around other high-level student athletes who, you know, guys want to be around that. You know, and I think that's what it's about. So long-winded answer from the 3 of us, and wasn't planned, you know, but that just, I think the truth and the facts, you know, why are kids leaving? I would ask the ones why they're leaving and why they're not, you know.
Right. Coach, who's the name of your principal?
So our president's Father Thomas Collins. Our principal is Mr. Paul Carty.
Write that down, Jamal. They got to send us a check for this commercial break.
That's it. But, you know, it's yeah, no. And, you know, the support team here, these guys, basketball is one thing. And I tell them all the time that, you know, for the staff, like winning games is fun, right? I mean, you could ask these guys. You guys have been around the game. Winning is fun, but like, you know, Joel Soriano's at St. John's now in the Big East, right? Joel, when he was a sophomore, played 2.3 minutes a game here, right? He couldn't run, chew gum, and catch the ball. He couldn't. But he got in the gym every day with Rod, right, and worked. And then he worked his butt off academically. And now he called me the other day, Coach, how's your wife? How's your daughter? How's the team? Right? That's what it's about. Alan Griffin's in a hotel out in Texas. You know, just Coach, how you doing? What's going on? Like, you know, get invited to guys' stuff and more than, you know, guys just say basketball. This isn't, we're not here to use any kid for basketball. It's life lessons. You know, how do you interact? These 2 guys going to college in a couple of years, Sam this year and Boogie, like the NLI, and setting yourself up for life and connections. It's use the game to help yourself, you know, so that's what we try to teach.
Absolutely.
Sam and Boogie, talk about, you know, what are your expectations both individually this season and as a team?
I'll start off. My expectations individually is all team based. I think Boogie can agree on this. It's really putting the ego aside, like Coach Pat mentioned, and just ultimately trying to be the best team possible. In terms of team goals, like you said, we want to try to win as much as possible, but also in the regular season, grow and develop, because we are going to face adversity. That's not a choice. It's going to happen eventually. And in that, how do we grow as a team and stick together? Because ultimately the end goal is March. The end goal is early April, where we're trying to fend for a city title and then ultimately get to that federation level and ultimately do something that I haven't been a part of. And I was unfortunately 1 year late for that, and that's just try to ultimately win a city championship and then get another state championship.
Yeah, like Sam said, it's mainly about the team, about winning. How do we come together as a team, stay as a team in these championships and all that other stuff? How do we go on the road and kick people off the road and stuff like that? You know, it's just staying together as a team.
And Coach, I just want to, we're coming off, we're still dealing with COVID.
Yep.
But coming off, these last year and 2 years basically, right, of COVID and having to deal with that. Talk about, it has to feel good that things are starting to return to normal, I guess. And what was it like having to go through those couple of years?
Yeah, it was what was it? It was February or March 2019. We lost in the city championship.
Yeah.
We've lost some big games. We won some big games. There's been some ups and downs in this coaching thing. Standing in that locker room in March of 2019 as the 1 seed kept getting delayed and delayed. We just beat St. Ray's in front of 2,000 people at Mount. Our students stormed the court. Having to tell those guys that the season was over, right? It was over. After losing in the city championship the year before, was probably one of the hardest moments, to do. And then from there, it just, you thought it was going to be, all right, a couple of months. And now we're 18, 19, 20 months still into this thing. And we're going to have to adapt and live. And we are. But last year was hard too. We thought we were starting November 6th. And then it was January 1. And the next, we play 4 games versus Iona, in a best of 7. We think it's over. And then they say we could play Lehigh. And then we think it's over then. And then we get 5 more games in the Catholic League tournament that we held here. If anything has taught you with this game, you got to be able to adapt. You have to be able to be ready. And the best thing about our guys, they just found a way to work. Whatever gym it was, outside, inside, they found a way. And that's what makes guys unique here when we couldn't do things. And now going forward, we do some testing here at Stepinac. Our guys, are obviously we're, guys are vaccinated. 87% of Stepinac's vaccinated as student bodies. So with the new rule in place, to be able to return quicker if you're exposed. So we just got to continue to be healthy. I tell our guys all the time, being careful at night, who they're around, what they're doing, taking care of their bodies, eating right. And we just got to hope we have a season, a full season, which is scheduled. We're going full steam ahead. And the one thing just announced last Wednesday was that there's 31 CHSA schools. So of the 31, every school could determine their home fan policy. So the best thing we talk about here, these guys played last year with no fans. A couple games we let, 2 parents in or an aunt and a grandma or something like that. But that was it, right? And they haven't played in front of a crowd. So we're going to have fans here. We're going to have a policy in place that we'll announce, but, not full capacity, but pretty close, and wearing masks. And I think people will do it and follow protocols to be able to see their kids play, to be able to see their classmates play, their nephews play. So we're trying to stay healthy. We still got the Perel in the gym. We wipe down the basketballs. We're masked when we're outside as much as possible and in the classroom. So we're trying to adapt to these new norms and stay healthy and be able to adapt and overcome to whatever situation we're thrown. So it's crazy, but I can't wait for the days to be able to back, playing in front of crowds and big crowds. And that's what these guys want. And that's why they come here and play in our league.
Right.
So before we let you go, this season it's here. You talked about
the tryouts. It's Saturday, right? That's the official
Saturday, 10:30, day 1.
You can see it in coaching. You can see it in Boogie guys, man. Look at these guys, man. They ready, man. I don't know who the food is, but there's some food that they about to eat, man.
We got, Jamal, we got a couple guys that we've kind of to love or to hate from some, we kind of set the bar in regards to how our guys are marketed, how their guys are portrayed. And some guys will tell you, whether publicly or not, they've copied our model. So it could be your best friend out there, social media, and it could be your enemy. But there's some people out there that say we're the 4th best team in the league, which these two guys have already seen, and that's fine. And Khalil knows, I mean, some people play for the first Sunday of March at Fordham. You know, we play for the second one. You know, that's what it's about. So we're fired up. You know, I'll let these two guys add their tone to it, but we're fired up for Saturday. We you know, our guys have worked extremely hard. We've had over 50 college coaches in here since September 9th. You know, we played in a fall league. We were really successful. You know, and this group reminds me a lot. I'm not a big compare and contrast guy, but they remind me of 2018 on they didn't miss anything we did this year, you know, and it's all voluntary in the fall, but they lifted, they ran, they worked out, they did extra work. These guys been working out 5 a.m, getting shots up before a fall league game. Like, who does that? Guys who want to win do that. And, you know, we love our league. You know, I get along with almost all the coaches in our league, and it's battles though when you turn the lights on and we know we're getting everybody's best shot. It's what it is. So what do you think, you two guys of the year?
Yeah, I think ultimately, like you said, we're super fortunate to be in the position that I haven't been in almost 2 years, and starting a full season. We know there are a lot of up and downs. We'll go from November, hopefully, to the beginning of April. So it's a lot of up and downs, but with that, what it brings, what the opportunity to be a team is, the opportunity to be on the road with my teammates that we all love. I think that's super special, and ultimately trying to win as many games as possible, because with winning comes opportunity individually. So I think that's super important, and just we all have a like-minded group that's willing to work, and I think that's super important in the ultimate outcome in winning.
I don't got much to say, but all I gotta say is we ready to go. And we just ready to get out there.
Right. Let's let the plan do the talking. I like that.
That's it. That's it.
Go improve.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. Once again, we had Archbishop Stepinac coach Patrick Massaroni, his senior point guard Sam Gibbs, and his sophomore guard Boogie Fland. Good luck to all you guys this season. We'll be watching. Hopefully we'll get you back on after a successful 2021-22 season.
The trophy, baby. Bring the trophy on, man.
You know,
and the hat. We need a city championship hat, coach.
That's it. We're just trying to get through Saturday first. Saturday, but we're excited. We're ready, and we've been hunted before. We've been the hunter, and we're, you know, like I said, we got guys, you know, that are talented in this league: Hayes and Iona and St. Francis and Loughlin and Malloy and you know, Christ the King. So we're ready. We're ready every night. You know, St. Ray's is young, but they're talented, and we're ready for the spotlight. That's why these guys come here, and that's why we coach them as hard as we do, and that's what the preseason is about. So we'll try to move this thing for December 4th. That's all these guys care about, but we got to get through Saturday first. No.
All right.
Coach is already in mid-season form.
Yeah, I can tell.
He's smart, man. He's politically savvy right now already, man.
But speaking of the spotlight, and I don't know if Coach would like this or not. Let me get you guys social media. Give me your Instagram handles and your Twitter handles, just so we could shout you out, and Coach too. I'm sure for the school and
yeah.
All
We got @step_basketball. That's our account. We got a great following. We got great content. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and we still a little old school for the guys on Facebook too. So we keep it out there. These guys don't even know what Facebook is. And
he's laughing over there.
We got also we got a TikTok account.
Oh no, not TikTok.
But these guys maybe take over the TikTok account if so. But
all right,
I'll let them plug themselves. What do we got now? You know, this guy next to me didn't get a social media account until like 3 weeks ago. He was anti-social media.
Really?
You don't have to look at it. You don't have to pay attention to it, but it's good to have.
Yeah, I'm new to Instagram. It's Samuel Gibbs 2_, I believe.
Okay.
He said, I believe.
New IG page.
Okay.
Mine is just Boogie Fland, Boogie.Fland on all social media accounts. So,
Okay. So we'll check you out for sure, man.
No. Well, we appreciate you having us on, doing this. This is what it's about. New
Yep.
York needs this. The tri-state needs this. And you know, we were just actually, before we hopped on, watching some of you guys' stuff and your content. So we appreciate you doing this. We're excited, and we'll book an appointment if we do win. We have no problem getting back on in April, even if it's 5 minutes. We'll ship you guys a hat. If we lose, hopefully next fall we're back on a redemption tour. But always welcome to a game, wherever, whatever you guys got. We appreciate what you're doing, and we're fans from afar as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, fella.
You guys got it. Thank you.
Peace.
All right. Good stuff as usual. Stepinac got a strong squad. We'll definitely have to check out a couple games at least this season. I can't wait for this high school season.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
That COVID thing too. It's like we haven't had it really.
Right. Right.
In a year or two, or at least a year and a half. So I'm looking forward to it. New York City scene looks stronger. The national scene in general is crazy. So,
Yeah. I mean, Stepinac is 34 in the country, and that can go up with a couple, knocking off a couple of big fish out there on the road. So, and Coach has done a great job with this program. I have a lot of respect for what he's done. Didn't know that they had so much infrastructure with physical therapy and all of that going on, the shooting machine. So there's no wonder why kids are attracted to that program. And kudos to Coach and Boogie and Gibbs, and I wish them well.
Yeah, that was interesting. The way he said they looked at it, trying to keep kids home and trying to provide the same things that prep schools would. So that's a model that should be followed. I was looking at there's believe it or not, there's preseason rankings for high school, and I was looking for nationally, and I was looking at for New York schools. There was only one New York non-prep school, and that was Long Island Lutheran. How you think they stack up against Lutheran?
I haven't really seen Lutheran. I've heard that they bring in guys from all over the world, not the country, but all over the world. So I don't know how that stacks up, but Stepinac, Lehigh, they're both in that same elite category when it comes to programs. So
all right. So we shall see. Another great episode. Of course, thanks to the listeners for listening and supporting, all on social media, especially at Up Next Pod on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter as well at upnext_pod. Keep the content going. And of course, we'll be back next week with some more great content. And it's basketball season. We're hitting the heart of it right now. So it should be fun.
Yeah. Peace, everyone.